Hey, Mr. Hanson. Hello, Mr. Thor. Let's see, how many times will Judson call Little Thor, Thor Jr. on today's live post? Hopefully someone will be keeping count. Hello and welcome, a big jump from Mr. Thor there. Hello and welcome everyone from one of the temporary spaces where some of our hybrid rescues are living in much anticipation for their forever home here. Well, their forever home here at the Wildcat Sanctuary in what is to be Catio Town. You might even be able to hear some of the construction happening in the background, Mr. Thor. So hello and welcome everyone. Hope everyone's enjoying their Wednesday today. Happy hump day. There's Mr. Maximillion. We'll say hi to Mr. Hilo, who lives with this group as well. You'll of course see Rio, and I would love some cheering on for Rio as she kicks butt and is doing her daily to-dos. I got to come in after this group just had their meal time. You're going to do a big jump, mister? After this group just had their meal time, Rio is going to do as she does. She's finished up their meal. She's going to go around and do a little spot cleaning. She's got a fun little piece of enrichment here for the boys to enjoy post-meal. And just another day in the life for kicking butt for our rescues. So welcome, everyone. Great to see some of you joining us here. I have Kathy Barton, Robin Lyon saying hi to Rio. Let's see who else is here. Marcy Sanborn. Ooh, wow, look at this, Marcy. Make sure I'm reading this in full. It sounds as though you may receive some donations in honor of your 25th work anniversary and your 30th birthday. That's right. We're all 30. We're all 29. Tammy's turning 29, as you know, soon, Marcy. But it looks like maybe your work has something that you're able to. There's Hilo taking a potty break. Is able to donate to the sanctuary in honor of your commitment to your own workplace. 25 years, Marcy, that is so awesome. And even more awesome that they're generous enough to give a gift to the Wildcat Sanctuary in honor of that. So pretty darn cool. I like starting off the live post like that, Mr. Thor. Good morning, Adrian Swartz. Saying hi to myself and the felines. There's Mr. Thor here. Thor, Hilo down yonder. And I hear some other talkative cats. Sounds like Eddy the Bengal. There's been a little musical cats happening in this habitat since perhaps the last time we've heard from them. If I'm not mistaken, Tammy may have been given a verbal update on one of her Wildcat wrap-ups about how Thor here, that'd be Maximillion, and Hilo have been getting along. Yeah, do I have stinky hands? Have been getting along. I bet I have very stinky hands because I was rubbing it in the catnip. How they've been getting along with Coco Savannah as well as Cine Savannah. And everything was copacetic with this group. All was well. But what was happening is tension between either group. So Hilo, I guess I should preface this, is that Maximillion here, Hilo, and Thor, they were already an established group of friends, I'll say, hybrid friends. And we had the addition of Cine and Coco on two other Savannahs to this group. And like I said, everything was copacetic, but caretaker Rio and some of their other caretakers, well, what they were noticing is maybe it wasn't, there wasn't any type of fighting in between these two groups of cats, but it was more so the displacement of tension amongst those groups because of these cats. So what was happening is, if I'm explaining that correctly, Mr. Thor, is Hilo and Hilo's group and Maximillion down here and Thor, they didn't mind Coco and Cine, but what happened is they would get a little worked up about their presence and then take it out on one another. And that was the same case for Coco and Cine, is that they wouldn't really take it out on the opposing group of Savannahs. They were taking out their frustrations on each other. So what was happening is caretakers just acknowledging that, well, things aren't as copacetic as they have been. Looks like tensions are kind of elevating in between this group. And so for now, Coco and Cine are now in a different temporary space. Maybe, just maybe, they'll be reunited come Catio Town. But for now, just a little movement in the best interest of the cats, as you all know that we do here at the Wildcat Sanctuary on a daily basis. We're never going to be flat-footed when it comes to kind of recalibrating a situation with some of our cats, especially with a move, and making sure that all parties are safe and comfortable. And catch up on some comments here. 90 of you joining us today. Hello and welcome. Visiting with some of our hybrid rescues here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. The Wildcat Sanctuary is not only home to lions and tigers, rescued big cats, we are fortunate to be home to rescued hybrid cats. These are hybrid wildcats that have been displayed. If you follow us here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, many of these hybrid cats being illegal in many states, as well as them being hybrid wildcats and that to be a suitable pet to have in the home. So we could go through down each one of the hybrid cats here in the Wildcat Sanctuary, and I'd probably get through about 5 stories before some of you would start noticing a pattern as to why these cats are coming into sanctuary, and how with a little education, Mr. Hilo, we're going to help stifle that flow of these cats in need of sanctuary and help educate people on what are appropriate pets and what do make suitable cats to have in the home environment, which aren't hybrid wildcats or wildcats. Rio, there's often supervising that happens here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, and I have to admit that you're getting some supervising now. So the boys are here in this temporary space. We're awaiting Catio Town, and we're obviously going to make do with this temporary space and still do the same things that we would normally do in a bungalow environment. You have 1, 2, 3 crates here. You're doing some cleaning. What do you use these crates for?
We feed all of our cats in crates, or at least try to, as best
Exactly.
as they will allow us to. Since this is just a temporary habitat for these guys, it's important that we know that we're going to be able to recrate them for when they do move over to Catio Town. So they get fed in these crates every day. Just makes our job easier here, so that when the day comes for them to move, we know they will go right in their crates. Easier on us, easier on them as well. If they're already accustomed to going in their crates every time, it's not a scary thing for when they move. So just for today, I'm cleaning out their crates. They get cleaned every week. So just making sure it's a clean environment for them.
And so it's not only kind of acting as, a conditioning space for them when they're ready to move, if they need to be crated for a vet day or things like that. But also very simply, these are, 3 eager Savannah boys who love mealtime, and just like we would do in the bungalows, being able to separate them for feeding, we're able to do that here. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I can see Mr. Hilo is trying to figure out these kind of various scented balls here. I think this one's good old catnip. This middle one was a kind of a type of like a ground stone fruit or something like that. It was a pretty unique one that was sent to us, Mr. Maximillion, but I'm curious. You don't be afraid to share, Mr. Hilo. I'm curious if anyone's going to try it out here. Catch up on some comments here. Kenneth Brewer saying it's been frozen in the same place for like 3 minutes. That's no fun, Kenneth. Sometimes the internet can be a little funky. Sometimes Facebook can be a little funky. So I always recommend just backing out of the stream and coming right back into it. Sometimes that can give it a kick in the pants it needs to get right back to the right spot. Hey, Mr. Thor here. I see plenty of people already helping out Kenneth as well. And Yada making a great kind of statement on hybrid cats. They will pee and tear up all your things. They will clutch on your food, not theirs, but yours. They do not care if your rug was imported. It's probably a litter box now. End hybrid breeding. That's right. The cat who I'm on here, Mr. Thor, Tammy could testify to this, is that Tammy was going back and forth with Thor's owner about his surrender and how attached she was to Thor. And we knew about Thor for probably a year before he even came to the sanctuary, because his owner was wanting to try every single little thing that she could do for Thor to help him be less destructive in a home environment, to help him try to use a litter box, to help him to not be so possessive. But unfortunately, it's in Thor's nature. He's part wild. And, as much, as us humans, we want it to work with these cats. And as much as this woman loved Thor Jr., unfortunately, it wasn't going to work. And she, look at you go, Mr. Thor. And she was going to be moving to a new home. She had recently become remarried. And that was unfortunately kind of the final straw for that individual, is that this cat could not come into their new space. And so we here are here to accept Thor as what he is, a hybrid wildcat. We treat him as so. We give him the type of spaces that a hybrid like him will enjoy. And then Thor, you know, truthfully the best part, I love the life that you get. And I love that now we get to have you to help make a difference for those cats yet to come to Sanctuary. Is that Thor is just a great example of Hinata, just like you said, of people wanting to have these cats in a home environment. They want to make it work. And Thor's owner and Thor's story is just one of many of these heartbroken people who have tried everything to help pull the wild out of a wild animal. And we know that that's just not possible here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. You can kind of see Thor Jr.'s casting, or I keep on saying Thor Jr., Thor's casting a little bit of a green light, and that's just coming off of the shade cloth right above us here. Faith Warner sharing a link to first-hand stories of hybrid owners. Thank you for that, Faith. It's got a lot of good kind of snippets, and you know, really just kind of sets the tone for a lot of the types of calls that we receive here at Sanctuary, and how much people love these animals, and how when it's gotten to a point where they've come to an understanding that they've made you know, a poor decision when they purchased this pet, this wildcat as a pet, and it really is hard. So definitely a tone that's worth kind of understanding, as it's not pleasant when we have to field all these hybrid wildcat calls. Obviously the cats, you know, we want the cat to be in a good space, but also it hurts our hearts when we hear so many humans hurting for these cats too, because they were misinformed when they purchased this cat. They were misled by a breeder who said that Maximillion right here, he's going to be a lap leopard. He's going to sit right on your lap. He's going to use the litter box. He's going to be social. But 9.9 times out of 10, that's just not the case with these hybrid wildcats, especially the high generation ones. Oh, look at what we have here, Mr. Maximillion. Hey, Marion K saying morning all and cats. Glad to have you, Marion. Hanging out with some of our hybrid rescues today. Certainly looking forward to sharing some updates on Catio Town. I know that Tammy has sent an update out to founding members. There you go, Maximil. And tomorrow is her Wildcat wrap-up. I'm hoping to hear a little more updates on some of the construction that's taken place this week. Kelly Sanford saying, good afternoon. Thank you, Kelly. Good afternoon to you, too. Looks like Kenneth is getting the sound correctly. And that's great, Hinata. The more the better, saying, my vet is also for ending hybrid breeding. It's so cool to see how passionate she is about this. Just like the TWS staff. Here, I can only imagine, too, what side of the equation she sees, Hinata, of, you know, for example, in a state like Minnesota, it is legal to own a hybrid cat, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a 4th or 5th generation or higher. And how it works right now, Mr. Maximillion below me, he's technically a 1st generation Savannah. All the Savannahs in this bungalow would be a 1st generation. And so what that means is that he's 1 away from wild. He is 50% wild, and you're getting down to the 4th and 5th generations. They're going to be just kind of decreasing the amount of wild in the genetics. But if you're here in Minnesota and you purchase a Bengal off the internet and a breeder ships it to you, as they often do, without looking where they're shipping it to you, well, I'm sure that vet could probably testify that they've had someone come to them and say, oh no, 5 or an F6. They can, and unfortunately, there's really no way of proving that if it's really an F1 or F3 without doing some serious genetic testing. So I can only imagine, Hinata, that your vet, rather, has maybe been on the other side of that conversation where someone is trying to bill her a higher generation hybrid cat as a lower generation hybrid cat. Maximillion. Yeah, you're the only one who likes the fun enrichment, I like seeing that, Kathy. Kathy at the Rock, your former vet in Tennessee, refused to dock ears and tails of dogs. Very great thing to hear, Kathy. A lot of it. Always, it's too bad to hear all the people going for aesthetics with their dog breed still. It's pretty shameful. What do we think, Maximillion? Tracy F saying not Lapo. Yeah, that's the construction happening over there, Mr. Maximillion. They're loading up the dumpster. Certainly so, as I mentioned at the beginning of the live post, and I got to go and catch up with your comment, Tracy. It got away from me for a moment. But you're definitely going to be hearing some Catio Town construction in the background. We're also getting an idea for how big those teeth are on Mr. Maxer's here, one of these F1 Savannahs. I mean, my cat's got big teeth, but nothing like that. Karen Daughtry, that's one thing that I surely don't talk enough about is from part of the breeding that's gone into creating these hybrid cats leaves them with a litany of health issues. A lot of them have IBD, various issues with their digestion tract. And that's definitely something that we see a lot. I think that's another thing that I'd like to reference Tammy on. But pound for pound in medical costs, with the amount of hybrids that we have and the amount of health problems that they have, I think that they're some of our cats that cost us the most money in veterinary care, if I'm not mistaken, with the amount of medications that they have, the amount of special food that they need to ensure that IBD and other digestive issues don't flare up. It really adds up with these hybrid cats. So that's certainly another thing to keep in mind is, even if you're responsibly caring for this cat, the type of vet costs that might be associated with having a hybrid cat for life. And that's the one thing too, Mr. Maximillion, that I want to talk about more, and I feel like I don't talk about more, is that there are plenty of good hybrid cats out there who are ready for a home, a home in a domestic environment. We here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, if you just go on any type of Bengal rescue page, there are tons and tons of Bengals in need of home. And that's where I say, and I'd like to think that a lot of people who are watching this page are experienced cat owners. And so to an experienced cat owning home, a hybrid cat is certainly something where you're able to help places like the Wildcat Sanctuary. You're able to help other sanctuaries that are trying to deal with this huge displacement of hybrid cats. And that's one thing that I don't say enough, is that these cats are very special cats. They have a very special set of needs, as you all know. To an experienced cat owning home, that's certainly an avenue for these, is that here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, we're able to say yes to a lot of the F1s. We're able to say yes to a lot of the special needs and unsocialized cats that really aren't going to succeed in a home environment. But boy, oh boy, are there still lots of hybrid cats that might not make it to Sanctuary, but are still ready for an experienced cat owning home. What do you think, Mr. Handsome? Yep, that's a great saying, Henyada. They're breeding them faster than we can save them. That's kind of the state of the sanctuary world right now for felines, that is, and the small cat crisis, and why Catio Town is obviously being built, and why just more and more and more you hear us really kind of beating that small cat crisis drum, because it is one that needs to be heard. What do you think, Mr. Handsome? Mr. Handsome Thor? I'm just hanging out for a little longer. I think Rio's going to maybe stop by one more time and do some waters. And then I'll be able to wrap up Mr. Maximillion. Sue Sears is here. Sorry for that in and out internet, but glad to have you nonetheless, Sue, on this live post. I know it can be a little funky. Hey, mister, you have the cutest little meow. And I feel like we haven't had enough time with Mr. Hilo. Hilo, I can just talk about briefly, but he's a really serves a good example for what breeders are going to do for profit, and more so what they're not really going to care about, despite getting their profit. And so Hilo is, well, he's got a pretty tropical and fun name, Hilo, found on the Big Island. In Hawaii, hybrid cats are illegal. How did Hilo get to Hawaii in the first place? Well, because a breeder received their electronic payment over the internet. They didn't look to see that they had money in their bank account, and off this cat went without them caring. So Hilo was found in a live trap. Fortunately, we were contacted by a shelter on the island who knew that hybrid cats were illegal, and they wanted him to get off and back to the mainland as soon as possible out of fear of him being euthanized because he's illegal to care for. So I think that's Hilo's always kind of the nail in the coffin, if you will, for these hybrids, and saying that they're not out for the profit off of that they're making from these hybrid cats, but they're in it for the well-being of the animals and wanting to create a good pet for the pet market. And the reality is they're here to make a buck off these animals. They don't care where they're going. They just care that they've got their payment, and off they go to keep breeding and keep selling and keep profiting off these poor animals. Well, Maria P., I love visiting with the little ones too. Your comment saying, I love it when we visit with the little ones. Well, talk about one of the reasons where I'm also so excited for Catio Town is that obviously that is going to be a building that's going to have wired internet that is going to give us a reliable and sustainable internet connection on, I was kind of wagging my finger there for a moment, and I think Maximillion didn't like that. I was just getting so excited about our internet, Mr. Thor, that yes, we are going to be having a reliable and sustainable internet connection come Catio Town. And boy, oh boy, just brace yourself for all of the Littles content. I think that our hybrid rescues are going to be getting the right type of shine that they've always deserved, that darn internet back in Hybrid Haven never let us fly. We always kind of flew a little too close to the sun when it came to the internet in Hybrid Haven. Danielle Z saying late but high. That's right. And Tracy F saying, as I recall, this is another just nail in the coffin for these breeders and how they're out for profit and nothing else. If you recall, and you recall correctly, Tracy, that Eddy was going to be put down for his appreciation of quote-unquote service to one of these breeders. Eddy was a stud Bengal at a cattery. As a matter of fact, I hear the handsome man right here. Eddy was a stud Bengal at a cattery, and after years and years of his quote-unquote service, them taking Mr. Eddy's seed here is for him to be euthanized. He was just dropped off at a shelter. He had aged out of the breeding program at this cattery, and this person, or this breeder, had nothing more to take from Eddy besides just dropping him off to be euthanized. Yeah, I mean, that's the type of stuff that after being here for 5 years that and hearing Eddy's story and knowing Eddy's story, it still doesn't just wash over me. It's just shocking that something like that can happen. And the fact that, that's, Eddy's been here for a certain period of time, and so many of these other cats have been here for certain periods of time. We have new rescues like Thor and things like that, but their stories are all the same, and that we're still kind of caught in this revolving door, and we're still fighting against the small cat crisis, but now making some effort and momentum to get ahead of it and make a difference for these cats, with a lot of other sanctuaries, accredited sanctuaries, now talking about the small cat crisis. And of course, just a lot of momentum among our followers and awareness towards the small cat crisis. It's really something special. All right, handsome men. I had a blast today, and I am so looking forward to hearing about some of the construction updates on Catio Town. It's been a busy week. I can only imagine Tammy will be sharing some on her Wildcat wrap-up tomorrow, and I'd like to get some images out on social media soon. But nonetheless, glad that we got to talk a little bit of Catio Town, most importantly talking about the rescues who are going to be inhabiting Catio Town and why it's such an important project. But hey, I'm tripping over some steps back here, Mr. Hilo. Mr. Thor. Let's see, how many times did Judson get names wrong during this live post? Anyways, I appreciate everyone's patience with my word salad sometimes. Nonetheless, I hope you all have a wonderful and great rest of your Wednesday today. Indeed, it is hump day, halfway through the week. I saw we post our wish list earlier this morning, and for those to maybe go and check out our wish list to see if there's anything you could help out with on this wish list Wednesday, that's always appreciated. But nonetheless, I had a splendid time with some of our small cat rescues. I hope you all did too, and we will see you back here at the Wildcat Sanctuary soon.